Guys, thank you for checking out this episode. We'd love your support. Hey guys, thank you for checking out this episode. We'd love your support by heading to patreon.com/freshly grounded. It really does make a difference in helping us continue making this content. And if not, no stress. Enjoy. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Freshly Grounded. Another episode. I don't know what episode we're on, really and truly, brothers and sisters now. But welcome. We are live on this one. So we're doing an actual live stream right now. And I think it was unexpected by everybody. So that's always positive. Let me just, whenever we do live streams, I always just feel like I want to just check.
I'm going to share it as well.
There we go. That's all right. Now you guys have heard the guest. All right. Oh, I didn't title it, so it's just called live stream. Well, I should change that title to like a live stream episode. All right, cool, we're on. Guys, we all know the situation. Before we get into the episode in Yemen, and as we mentioned before, we are helping to raise money. We want to raise 100 emergency packs, which are £100 each, for the brothers and sisters, the families in Yemen. You can see it via the link in our bio. Now, you might not see the link in our bio if you're watching this live, because we have to kind of add all the bio links and stuff just after. But what I'll do is I'll try and like post it up and pin it or something, or put it in the comments. But if you're not watching this live, then you should see it in the bio. So please go ahead and support that. Also, if you're a fan of podcasts, you're probably a fan of audiobooks. And the audiobook that I'm currently listening to is How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. It was written in I think 1942, and I just finished How to Win Friends and Influence People, which I've been telling you guys about for a long time. So that's finished now, alhamdulillah. But if you want to start listening to audiobooks, you can get a free audiobook by going to the link again in our bio, which will be there straight after this live stream. You can get a free audiobook, or you can get like 1 month free or something. And what happens is Audible give Freshly Grounded a little kickback. So we'd really appreciate it if you use that link. Cool. Without any further ado, guys, this episode is going to be with our brother, John Fontaine. John, I don't think has ever been on Freshly Grounded, although he kind of has. He's kind of been on our most popular episode ever, Freshly Grounded. So without any further ado, guys, the episode, because this is a live stream, obviously, the episode hasn't actually happened yet. So I'm going to hit the intro and we're going to go with John. Also, because it's live, feel free to comment in the comment section and ask some questions. And if it's kind of appropriate, if the time's right, we'll bring them in, inshallah. And so without any further ado, let's get into it.
And welcome to Freshly Grounded, the brand new podcast by best friends Faisal and Sam.
Huh?
I said welcome to Freshly Grounded,
No, after that bit.
the brand new podcast
And after that bit?
by best friends Faisal and Sam.
Really?
Okay, and we are in John Fontaine. Assalamu alaikum. How are we doing?
Assalamu alaikum, bro. How you doing?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well, bro. I just mentioned kind of just in the beginning that we kind of haven't had you on the podcast before, but kind of you've actually had our biggest podcast. So let me tell the story about this. So what happened?
I can't believe you forgot me, though. You're like...
What do you mean?
You just forgot that whole...
Because you're the one who like made us like become successful. Guys, what basically happened is so around the time that the New Zealand attacks happened, John went over to New Zealand and he went to the actual mosque, which I believe is called Masjid al-Nur. Masjid Nur, and he went to give da'wah to the community, to help and support basically wherever and whenever he can. And one of the biggest stars to come out of New Zealand is New Zealand rugby player Sonny Bill Williams. And we've wanted Sonny Bill on the podcast for a very, very long time. And John, while he was out there, managed to get an episode with Sonny. I heard about this and I was like, John, let's make something happen here. And Allahumma barik, with his generosity and just wanted to spread the da'wah and sincerely wanted to spread the da'wah. I asked John if he could license us that episode, and he did. And I'm ever so grateful because that episode's got like 250,000 views. And I pray that Allah rewards you for any benefit that has given to people. So I thank you for that, man. And thank you for being I've done. So we'll say that, let's say on average there's been about 184 episodes of Freshly Grounded. I have done every single episode of Freshly Grounded, bar one. And that one is our most viewed episode.
Yeah, you're saying that I've never been on Freshly Grounded before.
I know.
No, subhanAllah, it was good because I told you I want to do my own podcast, Young Smirks. But at that point, I'd not set up my YouTube channel or, done that yet. It'd been in the pipeline for a long time. So I just thought, Bismillah, for the sake of Islam, dawah, why not?
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Alhamdulillah. And it was a very kind gesture of yours. And I think we were able to get the message out to a lot of people, especially at a time back then when it was like just important to get that message out to anyone and everyone. Say, look, we as a community are supporting each other. And I think there was a lot of good that both Muslims and non-Muslims were doing to support the community at that time. So
definitely.
That was powerful, man. All right, John, I need to ask you a few questions and to just get this podcast started. And one of them has to be this. Every time I meet brothers, it's like almost always John Fontaine comes into the conversation. Allahumma barik, you've networked yourself around and you've been in the game for such a long time. Do you enjoy like socializing, get to know more brothers, getting to know more people, and just like connecting with brothers, basically? Just how do you do it? You seem like a very sociable person.
Firstly, I hope it's positive.
No, very positive.
You sure?
Well, guess who I met the other day?
Who?
Lee from Newcastle.
Oh yeah, mashallah,
yeah.
mashallah.
And Lee was like saying, oh yeah, and then John was saying this and John was saying that. I was thinking, oh, who's this John he keeps talking about? He goes, John Fontaine? I was like, yeah. And he goes, yeah. So he's like helping me like set this thing up or giving me advice.
Yeah, he started doing video and photography and stuff. Yeah.
So what's it like, man? Do you love interacting with people and just kind of building links?
Yeah, I'm quite social. Plus, I know a lot of people. I don't know how, but I do a lot of traveling. So when I travel different countries, I just get to know people. So yeah. It's as simple as that, bro. I met you at I think I first met you at the Mufti Menk event, right?
No. We met on a spot Manchester.
Oh yeah, very briefly, yeah. I remember, yeah. So it's like that. Like I met you there. I think I met Muslim Bilal there. Abu Bakr. I've known Abu Bakr for a long time. So yeah, it's just know a lot of people, bro.
I think it speaks volumes because you obviously when you connect with people, like they they stick onto you. I'm gonna stay with John. Yeah. With regards to the content that you create, though, one beef I have with you, John, is Allahumma barik, you create so much content, bro, and you don't see it like the amount of content that you have. You could be putting content out every single day, and you probably have enough content for like the next year. Why isn't your content just constantly? Because I have a different mindset, bro. Like this is as fast as it can go. We're literally live right now because I love the idea of creating content, getting it out, But you seem like you want to perfect it and then like create it perfectly and then put it out, which again is a beautiful thing. Am I right in thinking that?
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, this held me back for many years as well, because about 6 years ago, I went to the Dean Show, in America with Brother Eddie. And
is that not
this is the Dean? Yeah, Dean.
Yeah.
You need an intro like that, bro.
I know.
Yeah.
It's lacking.
But I went to the Dean Show, and the idea was I was going to do the Dean Show UK, but of course it doesn't work in the UK the same as the States. I did one episode actually with Abu Bakr Islam and Musa. It was about Snoop Dogg. I don't know if you remember that episode.
No.
But the quality wasn't very good. So for many years, I was just procrastinating about getting the studio, making the cameras right, etc. And it kind of put me off for many years. And then I moved out. I left UK. I was living in Kuwait. And then I just kind of, stopped making videos on YouTube. I just kind of focusing on my dawah in Africa. And I do like good quality stuff, as you know. I mean, that's why, mashallah. I mean...
You should say it.
Mashallah. I mean, you've got the same cameras as me. I advise you on that, and I just like to see doing stuff with Ihsan, especially media.
So I think that's something that we're trying to like perfect as well, because we got so Kareem, who you just met out there. Kareem's on board and freshly grounded now, and he he's basically come in and said like, Faisal, we need to do everything with ihsan.
Yeah.
And ihsan being excellence basically. And he like drills it in on me so much because I just, it's not that I don't like doing things with ihsan, but the thing I hate more than not having ihsan is not doing things. And I think the motivation behind that for me often is the hadith that explains that Allah loves deeds that are consistent even if they are small. But at the same time, you're right, you have to have a level of ihsan. But I think that sometimes brothers can go overboard to the point where they're not even putting anything out. They're not putting anything out. And so I try to counteract that by trying to have a half decent content, but then like trying to get it out at the same time.
That was the situation I was in. You know, I just wasn't putting any content out, and then these new cameras came out, which are great. You know, they can film for like 3 hours, long shot, like 3 hour shot, without stopping. And I didn't have an excuse. And then when I went to New Zealand that time, and I got the opportunity to do that video with Sonny, I just thought, like, now's the time, you know. So I just started the podcast. That was the plan.
Being someone who travels so much, I heard a rumor about you, John. I heard that you got it's getting a bit risky. No, I heard that you can speak quite a few languages. Am I right?
No, you're wrong.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, who told you that?
I heard you can speak like the native language in like I don't know, like someone told me
I'm
that
okay. I'm okay. I'm not like fluent. I'm not going to speak.
What language is it?
I'm not going to speak live on air.
No. Just be like, but what language?
No,
is
I
it
can
that you
speak like a bit of Sierra Leone Creole, but it's English based, you know. But you won't hear it if I speak it. You won't be able to understand it.
If someone told
and also
me,
a bit of Yoruba.
Where's that
It's
from?
Nigeria. Yeah, but not much, bro. It's not much.
Bro, I heard, this is just what little birdie told me. I can't even remember what birdie. I heard that if you go to like Sierra Leone, and maybe I even heard about Nigeria, when you're speaking to the locals, you're speaking like a local.
Nah, bro, it's not that good.
That's the rumor.
It's not that good. Who told you that?
I can't quite remember. I want to say Lee because I feel like I heard it recently, but I don't know. I don't even know how well you know.
Nah. The thing is, I can hear it better. I can totally understand, but I don't use it as much. I only use it with like friends. So because they understand English, so there's no reason for me to reply in the local language, because they understand English. Because it's English based. It's like broken English basically. So nah. Don't know who told you that. I
think you're being very, very humble, but I'll leave it at that.
No,
how long have you been in the scene, bro? Because you're one of the OGs, Along Berg. Not saying you, Along Berg, you still look young, but I'm saying you are one of the OGs. Though.
How old do you think I am, bro?
I'm gonna 32.
34.
Whoa.
34.
Really?
34, yeah. I know I look
See, I was
like
close.
50, you know.
No, you don't look 50.
But yeah, I came with. I started Dawah like about 8 years ago. No, about 10 years ago. We were just doing Dawah tables in Manchester. You know, every week we'd have Dawah tables. We'd have new Muslim classes, new Muslim support, weekly classes for like non-Muslims. And then, yeah, that's how it started really. That's before YouTube and Facebook and everything. When I started to go to Africa with Adnan Rashid and Musa Adnan, Ali Dawah, Imran, you know, Dawah Man and people like that, when I started to see these people, these are the people kind of got me onto social media really.
Really?
Yeah, they said, look, you have to get a Facebook page.
I thought you was there before that.
No, I didn't even have a Facebook page before that. I had a Facebook page, but it was for my jazz singing. I used to be a jazz singer, yeah.
Shut the front door. You used to do jazz singing?
Yeah, I used to be a jazz singer, yeah.
No.
Before Islam. So I used to DJ. I used to.
That doesn't seem to add up. Jazz singing and DJing.
Yeah, it's not at the same time, but
okay.
Yeah, so I'll be a jazz singing. I used to sing in Ronnie Scott's Jazz Club, you know, in Soho.
That's kind of
606 Club.
That's flying past me, man.
Pardon?
I said, alhamdulillah.
You don't know that stuff, yeah. People who know, they know. You know?
Okay.
But then I used to DJ. I did a track with. Do you remember Sway, the old rapper Sway?
I think so.
Probably before your time, right?
I think no. The Union Jack.
Yeah.
Union Jack.
Yeah, he's from Ghana. Yeah, so we did a track together. So I was quite into music. So I used to have like, YouTube and things like that. But then I kind of come off that. So I re-established my social media and YouTube, like once I was with, the brothers. That's why my name's John Fontaine, because that was my singing name. It's not actually my real name.
No.
But I can't tell you like my real name.
You shouldn't have even said that, you know that? Because that would have just been a lovely thing to always think. I did think your name was a bit poetic, to be fair, John Fontaine.
I've spoiled it for you.
You have really. It's like...
Do you know where John Fontaine comes from?
No.
Oh, I shouldn't have mentioned this.
Where's it come from?
Do you know... You've seen The Godfather, right?
No, I haven't.
You not seen The Godfather?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen it.
Come on, stop being pious, bro.
No, I haven't seen it, bro. The only reference I know is like...
bro.
So you come to my house, you buy my wife flowers. That's all I know. No, you don't even buy my wife flowers. That's a quote from The Godfather, I think.
There's a scene...
He's like stroking his cat. That's all. I've never seen it.
There's a scene in Godfather 1 when the old, Don, he grabs Johnny Fontaine.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay,
so Johnny Fontaine's the jazz singer.
No.
So I used to sing, in the jazz clubs for the Undesirables. And, so people used to call me Johnny Fontaine. So that's where it came from.
Look.
I've just I should never have mentioned that live.
No, but now, and it's live.
Oh, man. This is why I don't go live, bro.
Look,
I told you.
We'll forget about it.
Bro,
but look
bro,
at
I
this.
told you, bro. I don't go live.
What we'll do is we'll make it full circle. We'll say, Alhamdulillah, Allah guided you to Islam. And now look, we're sat here chatting away on a podcast, having a conversation. So you're still able to use your mic skills. And this time, inshallah, is for khair, So, alhamdulillah.
It doesn't matter, bro. I'm thinking of changing my name again, actually.
Really?
I mean, I know.
Can you just change your name?
Yeah, why not?
What do you think I should call myself then?
The little face.
That's not fair.
What do you mean? I think he's got a ring.
People know me as like big face. Wow,
Yeah.
little face. I have this thing. I have this like saying where I always say that I'm like 5'7" with shoes on, and I measured myself. No, is that what yeah, I measured my height, and I'm actually 5'10" with shoes on. So, and I was really upset about that because the boys Kareem and Only who are out there, they measured me and they were like, "Oh, you're 5'10" with shoes on," and the reason it upset me is because I was like, that ruins my brand. Because I think like on our live event, we literally had 5'7" with shoes on like printed on the thing as a joke.
No, I was 6'2" last time I was arrested.
Arrested?
Yeah.
Okay, now
6'2", yeah.
now the problem is the problem is now we're really getting into a problem with going live.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. All right, John.
Yeah.
So you're a guy who loves to travel. Why do you love to travel so much?
I don't actually.
Really?
I don't actually like
traveling.
I know. I don't actually like traveling. I used to like traveling. Before I was a Muslim, I would travel. I was traveling to Africa, West Africa, on business. That's how I became a Muslim.
Okay.
Doing work in Sierra Leone. But then, I just I'm kind of sick of it, to be honest. It's like the global culture. It's the same everywhere you go. The same brands, the same culture. Coffee shops, malls, football. It's the same everywhere you go. So that's why I like New Zealand so much. When I went to New Zealand a couple of years ago, the Maori tribe, the Maori people, it was something new for me. I'd never seen anything like that. I traveled in Africa, traveled in Brazil. I'd seen different tribes and things like that. But the Maori people, subhanAllah, very, very interesting culture, interesting history from them. So I was quite interested in New Zealand. But yeah, the more you travel, especially like the Middle East, Europe, America, it's all the same. So literally I just travel for dawah, bro. Like when I travel, I'm giving lectures, I'm doing courses, I'm doing talks, meeting the brothers. But it's rare that I go sightseeing and things like that. Sometimes maybe I take a day off or something, but very rarely.
It's interesting you speak about like the Maori kind of community because one of the interesting things you notice when you travel around a lot is that different things, different actions show respect and are offensive in different tribes, in different communities, in different countries. And I think like traveling and being aware of these things is really, really important, generally speaking. And when you're kind of stuck in your own kind of community, your own kind of bubble, you never get to experience that. You never get to understand people on like a deeper level than just like the people around you, right?
But you've traveled quite a lot, right?
Yeah, man. Alhamdulillah, I've not quite a lot. But
how many countries have you been to now?
I actually know I've got an app called Bean. Have you got that? Bean?
No.
BEEN, and you type in how many countries you just tick the countries that you've been to, and so I've been to 5% of the world.
Wow.
It's not that much, is it? 5%. 14% of Europe, 8% of Asia. I've been to 0% of North America, 0% of South America.
You've not been to Canada, no?
No, not been to Oceania. I've been to 3% of Africa.
Yeah.
So
I've been to like about 70 countries in total.
Are you downloading it now?
Yeah.
Let me know. Tick off the countries that you've been to.
Nah,
Bro, do it. They don't mind.
Yeah.
You guys don't mind, right? Let's have a look at how much percent of the world John's been to.
No, I mean, of course, it's just like visiting a city. It's not like you've covered the whole country.
No, you've got to add it in. If you've even visited the city.
Yeah?
Yeah, you tick that off, man.
Yeah, bro, I'll have to do this later,
yeah.
bro.
No, later.
Bro, there's no way I'm going to... 70 countries. I'm not going to sit here doing that.
Bro, I'll take it from here. You start ticking. Go on.
No, come on, bro. We're live.
All right, fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll sort it out. I'll send it you, inshallah. But yeah, it's quite a cool app, that.
Yeah, it's a cool
It's
app.
nice.
Yeah. So look, let's talk about the there was a topical conversation that we were just having in the office with the brothers, and you were just mentioning now about going out, coffee shops and brands and this, that, the other, and the conversation that we were having, I'd love to get your take on it, is this idea that through insecurity, a lot of us end up displaying a part of us that isn't true to ourselves, or we try and display ourselves as someone who we really aren't. And when you live like that, I think all of us have at some point in our lives lived in that way. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
Even if it's for like the first 10 years or while you're at university or something. And I think only when you leave that bubble do you finally get to experience like happiness, because you feel a weight lifted off your shoulder, because now you're not living to impress people. Because when you go, first of all, not only does it affect you because you start believing your lies, but it affects your wallet because you have to buy this and you have to buy that to like show people. And when you start just enjoying life and being your own character, I think that's when like the true version of you comes out. And so we were talking about this in the office. We were saying that I think the biggest like thing that we all would love is for everybody to go, you know what, I'm going to put the, just put the show down, put like the wall down and just be me. And so I did a YouTube video about this the other day as well. I don't know if you got to see it.
Yeah, I've been following your latest stuff. I really like it, bro.
Yeah, I just like what I can.
Because the content's changed.
Yeah,
I want to ask you about that
Fine.
as well.
No problem. It's a two-way chat, no worries.
Yeah.
But what do you think about that, man? Like, do you think that you see that a lot? Because I'm assuming Islam helps you a lot with that. Islam generally does, man. Like, you realize that you're not here to kind of necessarily just please the people at the expense of damaging yourself.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm not just saying this, but I've kind of always done my own thing. Like, singing jazz when you're 18 years old is not cool, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to be like praised by your peers for that, right? But it made a lot of money, so
Really?
It was kind of like, but I enjoyed it. It's what I did, and I was accepted for it. It's who I was. I didn't speak in a particular way just because I was from a particular area. It's like, I think there's a lot of like social pressure, especially today on the youth. SubhanAllah. It was bad when I was young, right? I'm still young, but like when I was really young. And it was probably bad when you were young. How old are you now?
I'm in my
26.
26. I'm 26.
26.
Bang on, yeah.
But like 20-year-olds now, bro, there's a lot of pressure, bro. Like Snapchat, TikTok, all these things.
Too much.
Bro, it's a lot of pressure, like, to keep up with what's going on. And, but yeah, it's, but the whole world is like that, bro. And they're all tuned into the same culture now. I remember when I was younger, we used to listen to like hip hop and stuff like that. But bro, it used to be like on a small shelf at the back of HMV. Now this has become like mainstream, swearing, different things in the music. It's just changed. It's changed the whole world, bro. SubhanAllah.
We just like you said, like the idea of not wanting to, not feeling like you have to come across as cool. I think it's so important because you realize that people are so concerned with themselves that oftentimes when you think that people are thinking certain things about you, they're not, because everyone's so concerned about themselves.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to the gym and sometimes you feel a bit insecure in the gym, you're lifting and weights and stuff, and you think, oh, everyone around me is probably watching. no one's watching because everyone's thinking that same thing about themselves, and everyone just gets along with their life. So I think we often create problems in our head that don't exist. We have a guy in our office, Samir, who mentioned the other day, he was like, "Oh, guys," he came in, he was so excited. Like, guys, I just got these new seeds, man. I've started gardening. I'm really into gardening now. I just started growing carrots in my garden, and now I'm growing this thing which is like halfway between a coconut and a cucumber. It's called like a cucumber. So he's just like, he's the thing that, but it was just so lovely to see someone genuinely so excited about something that a few years ago you'd never see him speaking about that, even if he enjoyed it. And now to have that environment here where people can just speak about things that they enjoy, and you respect it. You think, do you know what? Good on you. You're doing something you enjoy. Who cares if like we're not into gardening or something? Ultimately, like the goal is happiness, isn't it?
Yeah. Also, I just felt like I'd rather put my money into experiences. You know, traveling. You know, especially for dawah, bro. SubhanAllah, you learn a lot. You know, traveling. Like you said, going to different cultures, different countries, bro. You learn so much. You know, you can't. You have to have the experience of traveling. You know, you learn a lot, subhanAllah. But yeah, there's a lot of pressure with the youth, and even just with everyone these days, subhanAllah.
What would you advise them?
Just live for yourself, do what pleases you. Of course, within the fold of Islam, you know, with the guidance of Islam, but just get on with it, bro. Sorry, that's
no, it's true.
That's the wisdom, bro.
You know I was with one of our teachers recently, and he said that he was reading the biography of a sheikh who, in his biography, he mentions that he wrote a letter to Imam Ahmed, and he said something like advised Imam Ahmed something along the lines of, you know, you're so concerned with like teaching others and writing books and stuff like that. Like I advise you to focus on your own worship. And he mentioned that Imam Ahmed replied to him by saying there's deeds that Allah makes easy for different people, and we should capitalize off the deeds that Allah's made easy for us, and that Allah's made it easy for me to teach, and so I'm capitalizing off those deeds. And I think that also goes to show that as Muslims, it's kind of like a proof, isn't it, that we have different characteristics, and we should. The only thing that you do by being yourself is you give yourself a superpower. All of a sudden, by being yourself, you give yourself, like, you find out what you're good at, you find out what you enjoy, and you can utilize that to please Allah. You can use that skill, whatever that skill is. But when you're just trying to be the same as everyone else, the scary thing is that you never get to unlock your superpower, but you have one. Do you know what I mean? And obviously superpower is, you know, a colloquial term for it, but the point is that we have things that we're good at, right? And that's why we even look at the Sahaba, the 10 promised Jannah, and they all had different characteristics, but yet they promised Jannah. That proves that you have different characteristics. Why would you not want to utilize a characteristic that you have that the people around you don't? And you can really earn good reward off of it.
SubhanAllah. You know, you also see this when people like start practicing Islam. You know, you recently there's been, obviously, I don't really want to get into it, but there's a lot of controversy going around in the dawah scene right now. And you've seen that there's just like little cliques of people, you know, and it becomes very cliquey, and almost they fall into it. You know, you get these groups of youngsters who are like falling into this, acting how they think they should act, saying what they think they should. Does that make sense? And like people just follow, you know, subhanAllah. So
it's a scary time. What makes you what motivates you to just constantly stay in the da'wah?
You know what? It's partly for myself. You know, when you're active working for Allah, active in dawah, it's good for your own iman, right? You know, I'm sure that if I worked a 9 to 5, bro, I'll be struggling with my iman, bro. It's not easy, like especially if you live in the West. You know, just literally just clocking in. You know, Jummah becomes like the main day, right? And for the past 5 years, I've not lived in the UK. You know, I've lived in Kuwait for 3 years. I've lived in Uganda for 2 years. Uganda's like a Christian country, but there's still like 18 million Muslims there. You know, the adhan is there. And I would find it very difficult to come back to UK, you know. But the same thing with my actual, I'm not going to say a job because I don't have a wage. I don't work for some dawah organization. You know, I'm not paid a wage. You know, alhamdulillah, you know, I managed to get by doing this and that. But as a career, even, you know, a career which I don't get paid for, you know, it's like, it helps me as well. And I do feel that I have something to give, you know, as a white convert to Islam, somebody who's well-traveled, somebody who knows Africa. Like, if we went with a group of brothers to Africa, like, 9 of you, all of you are going to get sick, you know. You're going to be out of it for like 2 weeks if you come to Sierra Leone. It's guaranteed, yeah. But, like, I'm used to it. You know, my system's used to it. I'm used to traveling, you know, having lack of sleep, traveling, things like that, being in certain situations. So I have certain qualities that I've, you know, found or gained, you know, over the years, and I can put that to use. You know, I can do dawah in Africa, go into certain tribes, certain places, certain cultures, and yeah, I feel like I've got something to give. You know, especially because I'm from a Christian background as well. You know, it's something I feel is a bit unique. You know, I'm not a sheikh. I wouldn't even call myself a student of knowledge to that, but I still have, you know, a certain level of knowledge that I can pass something on.
I think that understanding that you have something to give is really powerful, and people are scared to say it because they're worried about coming across as arrogant or something. But I think having confidence in saying, this is my ability, this is the ability that I feel like I have, is very important. Because then, like I said, then you can start utilizing that specific ability.
The Christians, they call it finding your calling, right?
Right.
You know, finding your, you know, what you've been created for. That's how they term it, these missionaries. You know, and I think there's some truth to that. You know, we've been created for a purpose. Allah knows what qualities He's given all of us. And I think everyone has something to give. You know, you don't have to be a sheikh. You don't have to be even a serious student of knowledge to be able to support the Muslims. You know, you might be good with social care, with children, with teenagers, or whatever it may be. You know, you got your podcast. You know, now I've seen you're doing a lot of like productive Muslim type videos, I would call it. How would you describe your like latest transition, I would say?
My latest phase.
Yeah, phase, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
about productivity.
Yeah.
And
And it's not necessarily like over religious. It's not, you know, but it is a part of Islam. You know, you're teaching people how to be productive. I've got a lot of benefit from it.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
That
I
means
like
a
it.
lot to me.
No,
Wow.
look, I don't even like YouTubers, I'll tell you. But I
Well, you
really,
say you don't even like you.
I know. Well, no, but I've messaged you a couple of times, right? Telling you like,
I really appreciate
I
that.
really like it. I didn't even know you had a private channel.
Thanks.
You know, but like freshly grounded. But then these videos started coming through, and I thought, yeah, this is beneficial, you know. And at the same time, you're doing what you want to do. You know, that might not be as popular as what you used to do, but it doesn't matter, does it?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why many people, they say, well, you don't even get any views. I don't get many views, bro. Like on my channel, I don't care. I really don't care, bro. People say, why are you releasing it at this time or that day? I don't care. You know, I try to keep up with one podcast a week. But even a lot of my dawah activities, I don't film it. You know, I don't care about it, bro. Like, you know, videos for me, like YouTube, videos last like a week. You know, you'll be able to check your analytics. You know, after a week, people don't watch the videos. But I've been working on like books, you know, actually writing books, you know, writing one about atheism, one about Christianity. And I think that's going to be more beneficial for me personally on my, you know, shoulders, on my good deeds in the long run. You know, something you can actually leave behind, your legacy, you know, that you're going to leave behind after you've gone. You know, so yeah.
What do you think about when you think about that, about when you go and about death, about the next life? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Because I'm sure you think about it regularly. What's that thing in your head?
For me, there's one particular. I'm working on a book, right, and it's took quite a bit of research, and it's like it's kind of a narrative which is so simple, but I believe that not many people have kind of acknowledged it or recognized it. So I've been doing a bit of research. I spoke to Abdurrahman Hassan about this. I spoke to Dr. Bilal Phillips, and even like when I spoke to Dr. Bilal Phillips, like he wasn't agreeing with the narrative that I was speaking about, but then he kind of accepted it, right? You don't need to speak about what the point is, but I just want to get that out before I die. like I want to do justice to this particular topic, which is about Isa alayhi salam, about the previous revelations, the Torah, Zabur, and Injil, you know, and what they have today in terms of the Bible and stuff like that, which is basically that they don't have the Torah, Zabur, and Injil today. You know, the Bible is, you know, it's just like a collection of biographies, etc. So with this particular topic, there's a lot of research into it. So I just want to get that out before I die. Like I literally, I'm scared of like dying and not actually doing something about the knowledge that I believe that I've kind of found, or, you know, I'm not going to claim that I've found this point. Many scholars have spoke about it in the past, but there's some nuances to the argument which I believe is like quite interesting, you know. So and I make dua because I want this to kind of, I know this sounds a bit big, right? But I would like the book and my children to basically support Isa alayhi salam when he returns. You know, that's like I'm just thinking about the future, you know, and to have a lineage, because obviously like my parents are not Muslim, so Islam in my family is starting now, you know, with me. So to have a lineage which has begun with you accepting Islam, and then your children, your grandchildren, and hopefully the continuing generations will be Muslim, you know, because somewhere along the line you had a revert in your family, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you're a Sahaba, right? You come from lineage of Sahaba.
I have no idea.
Well, they're still reverts.
I don't know my
They're still converts, you know, even a Sahaba.
Sahih,
So
Sahih.
that, you know, somewhere along the line, somebody accepted Islam. Somebody changed their religion. Somebody had a problem with their parents because they changed their religion somewhere along your lineage, you know, and that's me, you know. So it's like, hopefully, you know, you just hope that your children are raised with the correct Islam, you know, and to the extent that they do such a good job that hopefully they'll be able to keep supporting Islam, and you know what I'm saying.
Do you feel a level of responsibility coming from Christianity as a background to advise Christians and kind of just British people in general, but Christians more so? Do you feel a responsibility for that?
I do, yeah, because for the white people, for the English white people, I remember when I was a non-Muslim, seeing people like Abdul Rahim Green, Yusuf Estes, Lawrence Brown, other white Muslims, it actually helped convince me that I could become a Muslim. I know it sounds ridiculous, right? But I didn't know that white people could be Muslim. I thought it was like some Pakistani religion. You know, that's it. That's all I knew, right? So seeing other people who had converted, it had a big impact on me. And I know other white Muslims who it also had an impact on them seeing me. You know, I get messages, you know, people saying, you know, like seeing you as a white Muslim, you know, and not only just becoming a Muslim, but actually doing dawah. It's very encouraging. And it's similar to you, you know, your audience, you know, people from a similar background to yourself, you know, they support you, right? You know, it's like they're happy to see you succeed. You know, and at the same time, for like the African Christians, I feel that for them, it's quite unique, because what they know of white people is that they're Christians. You know, they're colonizers, they're Christians. And to see somebody actually change to Islam, it's a big image, bro, especially in Africa, you know. You know, it has a big impact to see, and what they would say, like a real white man, because in Africa, you're a white man, bro. In Sierra Leone, they would call you a white man. You know, any like Lebanese, Pakistanis, they call them white men. But to see a real white man, you know, it's like, oh, he became a Muslim. They'd never seen it before. And you tell them that thousands of white people are becoming Muslim. It's like a social proof, you know, that because sadly, they have an inferiority complex, a lot of them. Same in Pakistan. You know, when I went to Pakistan, I went with Hamza Zortzis and Adnan Rashid and Yusuf Chambers. We was doing a tour of the universities. Same thing there. Like when you see these rich, elite, you know, the youngsters from Pakistan, very rich, you know, in the universities, and when they see white people become Muslim, because of their own inferiority complex, you know, it actually helps them come to Islam. You know, you kind of almost use it against them. Islam's true because I'm telling you it's true. I know it sounds really colonialistic, but you know what I'm saying there, right?
I know. I think I do know what you're talking about, and I think sometimes I remember, so when I was in Cardiff and I started like getting more kind of falling in love with my faith, there's a brother who's been on this podcast called Joshua Dickens, and I would see Josh in the masjid, and he'd have his sports bag with him, and he would have just left the gym. And I used to see him in the gym sometimes. Cardiff's very small, and he's like this like huge like guy who's like looks very cool, dressed cool, and that type of guy you think, wow, like, but this guy he's like, do you know what? You know when you look at someone who is successful in a certain field, so let's say for example someone's successful in business, we look at someone like Jeff Bezos and we go, oh, like that guy has got some traits that I would like to have because he's successful in business, discipline, etc. And so you see someone who is like always 5 days a week, 6 days a week going to the gym. You go, that's traits I want to have. I want to be a person who goes to the gym regularly. I want to have discipline. And so someone who has traits that you would like to have, and then you're seeing them 5 times a day, or whenever you go to the masjid, they're in the masjid, and they're praying salah, and their sujood looks so peaceful. You should think, subhanAllah. And so I remember going up to Josh and just chatting to him, and it was just amazing to see someone who just loves Allah, and it does make you think, well, I've actually been born into this religion, and I feel like I don't appreciate it as much as Josh does, who's only been Muslim for 2 years, and he loves it. It makes you think, you know what? Let me just look into it for a second and realize the gem that like Allah has blessed me with.
Yes, subhanAllah, it is a powerful. I remember the video. I can see it. The video where I first seen Abdul Rahim Green, you know, with a big white thobe, with big long ginger hair, at the time. And I think it was on Peace TV, and I was like, wow, like I was shocked, like an Englishman, and he's like a posh Englishman, right? And it's like, subhanAllah. And also Lawrence Brown, it was like, wow,
See
it's
much
just
of
different.
Yusuf Estes?
Yeah, I've not seen him since last Hajj. I've seen him briefly.
No, but I mean, like, did you used to see any of his content?
A bit, yeah.
Have you seen him teaching? Have you seen him teaching Arabic on YouTube?
No.
Oh, it's the funniest.
Is it?
John, he's like, it is so good. Like, if anybody is struggling to read Arabic or hasn't started the journey of like learning to read Arabic and wants to understand or read the letters, like, because obviously when you're learning to read Arabic, the first thing you got obviously start with is the letters of the Arabic language. And Yusuf Estes on YouTube, it's like, he'll be like, and this is a noon because the dot is in the middle, which is at the noon. And he's like every single letter, he's like characterizing it and personifying it, and it makes you remember them, bro. He's like, and this, and he's like, now he's like, when he speaks about the year, he had no way of like personifying or like characterizing the year, and so he was like, he drew the year, which is obviously the lines and then like the 2 dots underneath. And he's like, I can't think of a way to characterize a year, so it's like someone who drops 2 things out of their boat and they go, yeah, like when you make a noise. It's the funniest thing, bro. So I really recommend it, man. His way of teaching is so like energetic, bro, that you just think it seems quite accepting. And sometimes, unfortunately, maybe we can come across a bit boring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you see someone explain Arabic language like that, you're like, I get it.
I've spent a lot of time with Yusuf Estes.
Okay.
I did a tour in the States about 7 years ago. I did a couple of tours in the UK with him as the cameraman, right?
Okay.
And he's the one who would like get me involved, and then I actually did a tour with him in Qatar as well, and he kind of like was pushing me to speak and stuff, and I know him very, very well. He literally treats me like a grandson, bro.
Oh.
Like he messages me, and I learned a lot from him, but it's like you go through different stages of your life, and everything has a place. Everything you learn something from everyone. But I've got a lot of good memories from Yusuf Estes.
Okay, so being in traveling over the past few years and meeting different people, can you pinpoint like a specific saying or a quote that's just or like a story that you've been told that's just like really made a difference in your life and made you think in a different way with regards to the deen or anything like that? Can you pinpoint a conversation, a quote? I'm putting you on the spot a bit.
I don't know who said it, but you know, something that actually stuck with me was, in terms of your good deeds. I know you've probably heard this, not like anything new, don't worry,
Yeah, I'm
but
sure
it
I'm
had an
gonna mind
effect.
the benefits
It had
of
an
being as
effect
well.
on me, bro. Which is, you know, anything you do public, just treat it as if it's not accepted.
Bro.
That was big for me.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you know, that you have to leave something for Allah. You know, you have to do private deeds.
So,
And that kind of slowed me down on YouTube a bit, you know, because there was this culture of just filming everything, like 24-hour vlogging, bro. It's ridiculous, man. When you think about it, you know, like,
be careful, I was a vlogger.
yeah,
I'm joking.
what?
I said, be careful, I was a vlogger.
Yeah, no, but you know, you go through it, right?
You're right.
I've done vlogs before, but you know, when it comes to your good deeds, it's not a joke, bro. Like you might think you're safe with your, you know, showing off or whatever, but realistically, you only know if you're not showing off if you just keep it to yourself. You know, so I think that had a big effect on me. But just a lot of people generally. Like, what's interesting is, like, all the people I used to watch on YouTube, like Dr. Bilal and people like that, Saeed Raghi, Yusuf Estes, like, I came to know them on a personal level. You know, like, they're friends of mine. They're not just, like, people I just message at once a year. Like, I'm in contact with people. You know, as friends like Dr. Bilal, I'm literally
you have a very good relationship.
Yeah, like every week we're in contact. You know, Saeed Raghi, we do Africa Dawah and stuff like that. So, and other people, you know, sometimes I just think, subhanallah, how did this happen? You know, there's a little story behind it as well, like why I got into Dawah. Like, before I was a Muslim, just as like I was transitioning from being, you know, into Islam, I had like a court case going on. You're looking at me like, well, is this okay in your podcast?
Perfect.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely
Yeah,
great. I'm
sure,
going to cut
yeah.
this into a clip and
But
I'm going to make it John Fontaine's court case.
no. So I had a court case going on. We don't need to go into details, but you know, I was being accused of something, and subhanallah, like I was looking at possibly getting a lot of time in prison, and I remember I came into Islam because it was like a 2-year court case, bro. And during this 2-year period, I came into Islam. But in that period, I remember making dua and I said to Allah, if you get me out of this, I'll work for you. That's what I said. And on the first day of trial, it literally just got cancelled. Like, they threw it out of court. And I remember coming out of court and my dad said, like, you know, oh, that's amazing. I said, yeah, that was God. That's what I said to my dad. I remember. And I just thought that I have a responsibility now, because that's kind of like, you know, I made that pledge, right? It's like, get me out of this, I'll work for you. You know, because I was already doing like dawah tables and stuff, but I've just committed my life to dawah, you know, so that was a big point. So I forgot the original point I was speaking about, but, you know, just watching these people and then actually finally working with them and knowing them on a personal level, it's like, I just think, subhanAllah, how did this happen, you know? It's like, I know for other people watching it's nothing, but for me it's like a big thing. I remember when we was at the Mufti Menk thing, and you were kind of, that's how I was. I remember seeing you like, oh, you know, I can't believe, you know, I'm here. And I remember, that's the same feeling. You remember?
Yeah, I remember.
You know, and it's like, subhanAllah, Allah makes it happen, you know. And out of all the people in the world, you know, there's how many billion people on the planet, how many Muslims, and you're the one who's there. It's you who Allah's chosen to be a part of that. You know, you just feel blessed. But you feel like the only one, right? You feel like Allah loves me more than anyone, right? I'm not being funny, but that's how you feel, right? But everyone feels like that, bro.
It's amazing.
Bro, who else can, like, subhanallah, who else can love people like that? You know, like, you have a favorite child, you have a favorite auntie, you have a favorite uncle. Subhanallah, you can never fully, like, kids know who their favorite child is, right? because parents they
Can't hide it.
just can't love them the same. But everyone has these stories, bro. Like you meet random people and they'll tell you a story, and they also think they're the most loved by Allah. It's next level, bro. do you know what I mean?
No, I know exactly what you mean, bro. Like,
but you're like, you know, you can sit here and tell me stories all day. I can sit and it's like, you know, like literally with the remembrance of Allah, your hearts will find rest. And by obeying Allah, everything becomes easy, bro. He just, you know, marks the path for you. And sometimes sometimes I start like, it confuses me. I think there's no way, like, you know, the concept of qadr of Allah. Sometimes you're thinking, you know, like you feel like you're literally following a path, right? Like there's no way this is random. Impossible. You know, and that's how like qadr and your free will, your free choices, like kind of meet. It's that point where you've made them choices, but it's perfect. You know, even the mistakes, they're perfect. They're there to test you and for you to learn from them mistakes so that you can do bigger things in the future.
Is there any other job in the world that you would do?
Absolutely not. Like when people say what would you do if you like, this is it. Like I'm doing what I want to do.
SubhanAllah.
You know? I mean there's different projects I want to do.
Who would think that the thing that your dream job and the thing that you love doing is a job that, like you said earlier, it's not even it's not, you couldn't call it a career because it's not something that you get a wage from.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, you see a lot of the people who are giving dawah, may Allah reward them. You know, we're not taking that away from them, but and I would like a wage, by the way. It's not like a choice. It's just because I don't work for a dawah organization, you know, but many people involved in dawah, mashallah, they get paid, which as they should, right? But yeah, I'm not getting paid for what I'm doing, you know, so.
But you still love it.
Yeah, subhanallah.
It's amazing, man.
And that's my job, you know. That's what I do. People say, "What do you do?" I'm like, "Yeah, dawah." And they say, "Well, you know," and yeah, they're like, "Okay, so what organization?" And I don't work for an organization. But then they're like, "So what's your real job?" I'm like, "Well, this is what I do." You know, just because you don't get paid for it, it doesn't mean that that's not your real job, right?
SubhanAllah, man.
I want to share something with you. It's this is kind of a bit exclusive, right? Because you know the online platform of raising money and things like that, I don't like it. You know, where you get all these adverts of da'is or sheikhs kind of, you know, raising money. It's halal, no problem. I don't have a problem with it from that perspective. It's just not kind of in my culture, in English culture. It's kind of it doesn't look good, you know, to always be asking for money, you know, especially I believe this is why many people have left Christianity, actually, because they're just constantly asking for money, you know. But like the online platform, as you know, like I have different projects like Sierra Leone, Ghana, Uganda, etc. And I've had big plans for Africa, different things. And I don't want to say too much, but I've always refused to do like heavy online fundraising, you know, where I'm basically, you know, really pushing the people to donate. And subhanAllah, things just alhamdulillah, this Ramadan, things just came through, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
You know, I don't really want to go into too much detail, but it's like, if you don't feel comfortable with something, then don't do it. But Allah will still provide for something. You know, it's been like literally nearly 10 years I've been trying to do certain projects. You know, we have school projects in Sierra Leone. And eventually, alhamdulillah, you know, Allah brings the support. And maybe in a future podcast, you know, when I actually fulfill this vision, maybe we can speak a bit more about it, inshallah. But the point was just, you know, just don't compromise not just your religion but your own kind of principles, basically.
Yeah, and I think that's important because you have to have your own principles as well, and you can. We were just speaking about the things that if something's ever like hit you, right, or like something that stuck with you. And I remember when I first joined Instagram, which by the way I don't have Instagram anymore
At all.
Nah, yeah, at all. I mean, I have access to the Freshly Grounded one if I want to, but when I first joined Instagram, I saw there was an account that, you know, they post like writings and stuff, like just like little quotes or little poems and stuff. And so this account, I don't know if it was a brother or sister, but he or she used to write poems and stuff, right? Just like little short ones. And over the years, there have been loads of quotes from Quran, from various ahadith that have stuck with me. But there's this poem that when I think it was just because it was like one of the first times I saw something that really hit me, and so to this day, it's just a nice quote that I like, and a nice poem that whoever wrote it, may Allah reward them, because I don't think the Instagram page even exists anymore, but they don't know that they wrote something, and it helps, right? And so if you look at my phone cover on the front of my phone, you can see that you can you read that?
Yeah. Even if I have to crawl.
Yeah, it says even if I have to crawl. That's what it says, right?
Yeah.
And that makes no sense, but it reminds me of this poem that this person wrote, and I'll read you the poem. And it's an amazing poem to read when, as we all do, you commit a sin, and definitely like the best thing to read when you've committed a sin and you want to increase your iman is obviously Quran, increasing your knowledge. But it's a nice thing to read. You committed a sin and you feel a bit hopeless, right? And this I found motivated me, and so I'll read you the poem. It says, it explained what I feel after I've committed a sin into words, which I found like, I thought, oh yeah, man, that's how I feel. So it says, I'm falling back into the pit I was once taken away from. Painful memories have crept back in as my mind becomes numb. Restless is what I'm feeling as I find it hard to breathe. Tears fall down my cheeks as if my skin has begun to seethe. It was out of my own weakness that I have been consumed with so much pain. I became lost in a delusion for my own worldly gain. But I will make my way to him, even if I have to crawl. Who else will find me a way out? Who else can I call? Forgiveness is what I seek as I now begin to plead, for he is my protective friend when I am most in need. And that was powerful to me, man. Like so many elements of it, because it's split into 3 parts, this poem, right? And the first is basically saying I'm falling back into this pit that I was once taken away from, which shows that like I'm going back to my old ways, and Allah was the one who took me away from it, right? But also what that first line does, I'm falling into a pit that I was once taken away from, it shows you who really is the king, right? Allah. I'm saying I'm falling back into the pit. I'm the one who did it to myself. And I was once taken away from it. It was Allah who took me away from it. So I'm almost like you're owning the sin. And then I'm saying it was out of my own weakness that I've become consumed with so much pain. Because when you sin, you feel pain, man. And it's only because of myself. Probably because I became deluded with the worldly gain. And then the last part of it just really hits me, because what happens at the beginning, you're like, the beginning of the poem, you feel a bit depressed and sad. You're like, I'm falling back into the pit. And then you're like, oh, it's my fault. And the last bit, it says, but I will make my way to him, even if I have to crawl. To show, you know what, the next step is, no matter how hard it is, because now my iman might be low. Now I might not be able to do deeds that I found easy before because it's going to be taken away. But even if I have to crawl, even if I can't make the tahajjud today, if I can't make the sunnah of fajr, I'm going to, even if I just before sunrise, but there's no way I'm missing right, you got to force it, even if you have to crawl. And then at the end it says, it gives you hope at the end, because it says, for he is my protective friend when I'm most in need. And that is what Allah is. And so I think the fact that was written by as for my knowledge, that was just written by someone on Insta. But that hit me, man. And so my phone cover says, even if I have to crawl, because it reminds me of that poem.
Oh, that's powerful, bro. That's really nice, bro. I like the metaphors.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah. You know, one thinking about it now, there's one ayah that really kind of woke me up to the responsibility of dawah, which really kind of made me think, wow, you know, like the dawah's not being done and I have to do it. And that was where Allah mentions قُلْ هَذِهِ سَبِيلِي أَدْعُو إِلَى اللَّهِ, that, you know, that your path, you know, that Allah orders the messenger of Allah to say that your way, that my way, sorry. So he orders the Messenger of Allah to say my way is to invite to Allah with basira, with insight, with truth, with insight, right? But then it says mine and everyone who follows me, right? So the ayah, Allah is ordering the messenger to say that my path, my sabil, is to invite to Allah with basira, with truth, with insight, with wisdom, yeah? Mine and everyone who follows me, right? And in the book where I got it from, Ibn al-Qayyim, one of the scholars of Islam, he said that if you don't invite to Allah, right, then you're not on the sabil. And it was kind of like, he flipped it, right? That statement, I'm not going to say more than the ayah, because the statement was because of the ayah, but that tafsir of the ayah was like, wow. You know, it's like, he just flipped the ayah on its head, right? It's like, you know, that that it's his way and everyone who follows the Prophet or claims to follow the Prophet. That if you want to be a follower, you have to invite to Allah. You have to call to Allah. You have to be a part of this dawah. You know, even if you're not the one who's speaking, you have to be the one. Maybe you're the businessman who's supporting it. Maybe you're the marketer who, you know, whatever it is, right? You all have to play a part in calling to Allah. You know, otherwise you're not on the sabil. You think you're on the path, but I thought for that was like, whoa. When I first heard that, I was like, that was deep.
That is powerful. And again, we were just speaking about this exact thing about an hour or two before you came. I was saying to Kareem that I said, I don't think I've ever successfully given anyone da'wah, right? And he goes, what do you mean by that? And I said, well, he goes, what do you mean, like the A to Z? And I said, yeah, the A to Z, like, you know, you explain the Islam to someone, and I said maybe it's just that's not what I'm good at, right? Like giving da'wah directly. And he put things into context exactly how you did, and basically we end up explaining it in a way where it's like you said, you don't have to be the one who's like taking the shahada with the bar, but it's that you almost see it like a conveyor belt, and if you could just push along the way, you just be a little stroke or the seed that plants it. You've been in that journey. And it was interesting because it like gave me an insight into how to view things. Yeah,
you know, people always think, successful, because they're counting shahadas, right? They want to see the end product. Right. Okay, this guy has started praying, or this guy has become a Muslim. So, but that's just like the end product. Allah is responsible for guiding them, not you. So the success part is you doing it with sincerity, number one, and with basira, with truth. Not with lies, not with lack of knowledge, not with lack of wisdom, with basira, you know, like insight. You know, so like it's like your whole podcast is dawah, bro. You know, I was just saying on the way down, I was driving down from Manchester, and I was actually saying, like, practicing Christians, right? Their youth, if they're practicing, I don't mean to sound disrespectful, but they're a bit weird, if you know what I mean. They're not like, they're like, do you know what I'm saying? They're not really in touch with life, if you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what you mean. When you get, I don't know is because I don't see. When you get like 25, 30-year-old Christians who are practicing Christianity, churchgoers, they're very sheltered.
Okay.
They're like, you know, they're like, it's not realistic, if you know what I mean. But we have like normal Muslims, like you. You're just like a normal guy, right? I appreciate that. No, do you know what I mean? Like, I'd like to get your hat back, and do you know what I mean? Like people relate to you, right? You're a normal Muslim who follows a religion. MashaAllah, you study in Arabic, you study in the Deen as well. But you're just a normal guy. You're doing like productive Muslim videos, right? Not necessarily like teaching what people would expect. But that's your thing. And it was just like, in Islam, we have that. We have like normal practicing people. Islam doesn't ask for much, bro. It's just praying 5 times a day, being a good person, you know, doing good deeds. You know, it's not as hard as people think. You don't have to be a sheikh. You don't have to be, you know, you don't have to know Arabic. You know, we should know Arabic. But you know what I'm saying? It's easy. You know, but people make it difficult. And I always find this with certain communities, especially the Asian community, I would say. You know, And by the way, we should pray our sunnah salah, right? I'm not saying don't.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're going to say.
I'm not saying abandon the sunnah, right? But there's like this big emphasis on all the sunnah salah.
Yeah, otherwise, it makes the deen difficult.
Makes the deen difficult.
Yeah.
You got kids who are like literally, right? I just met a friend of mine, right, who recently come back to the deen, right? You don't know what this guy's going through, bro. Well, this guy was literally a pimp, bro. I'm not joking, right? Like, in major sins, right? And it's like you don't know what these people are going through, and you got the people saying you've got to do all the sunnah salah. I told the guy, look, forget that. You know, do your 5 daily prayers. Don't miss your 5 daily prayers. Get them on time. If you miss one by accident, no problem. It's no problem, bro. You're not accountable. If you generally forgot or you know it slips your mind, it's not a problem. Just pray. Just pray as soon as you remember, you know. And at the very least, don't go to sleep without all them salah being prayed, because that's what he needs, right? That's his level. And I think we have to. I'm not saying simplify the deen. I'm saying present the obligatory stuff first. You know, all these extras they come later. You know.
I think you're right. And one thing I noticed when I started becoming passionate about the deen is that a lot of the things that I thought were right, the deen is a lot easier. Like, bro, I remember when the first time I must have prayed in my shoes, like at my grandparents' house or something, it was like, what? And then when you hear stuff like, you understand, just load the list I think is endless. You know what I mean? And I remember one time when I realized how easy the deen is, right? One specific time that I remember. So I used to work in retail, and so I had just started practicing maybe like a year ago, and I was working in retail, and so when I would pray, I had heard. So this is what the importance of like studying as well. I had heard that you can wipe over your socks, right? So I was like, oh wow, this is amazing! Look how easy the deen is. You just wipe over your socks. Like you don't have to make wudu properly once you've made it. And so I used to make wudu and pray at work, and then I'm like, you know, on my feet for 8 hours, like walking around the shop floor and stuff. And I ended up getting a really bad infection on my foot. Eventually, I went to the doctor. I was like, it's too bad. I'm struggling to walk on it. I went to the doctors, and my doctor said to me, do you like wear wet socks? Like, do you put socks on straight after the shower or anything like that? And that's when it hit me, and I thought, oh, yeah, I'm like, I realised, I don't know when the best time to tell.
You washing your feet with your socks on, bro?
I was washing my feet with my socks on.
What?
Bro. Like
loads of water,
everything. Loads of water.
Lots of water, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm washing the bottom and everything, and I'm like, oh, so that's what it is. So, but then what happened is I thought to myself, but that doesn't make sense because now I understand where the infections come from. But Allah wouldn't like want me to do something where I can so easily like get an infection. But then I was back, and then you realise that you only have to wipe over the top of the sock. You don't have to wipe the bottom, bro. And that's when
there's literally no water as well,
right? Like, but that's when it clicked to me that like the deen is easy, right? And also how important it is to study, because for months I was getting water, bro, wiping the bottom of my sock, but like how you would wash your foot, but just put the sock on, you know what I mean? And then I realised, oh, let's have a look. What's that message you got over there, John? It's bad podcast educators.
Couldn't? Sorry, bro. Sorry.
I'm joking. So that's what I was doing, bro. And it made me realise the ease, but also how much like you have to study and understand. The more you study, the more you understand, the more you realise how easy the religion is to practice, especially with all these things like when you're out, when you're travelling, and so on and so forth.
You know, Spana, just on that point, a beautiful point, right? Because you know they always mention, you know, the ease of the religion, and like you know, if the religion was like if it was about rationality over like revelation, right, then you would some scholars have said like you would like wash the bottom, right? Yeah. But Ibn Taymiyyah, mashallah, check this for wisdom, bro. He says even that's rational, because if you put water on the bottom, you'd be picking up the dirt, bro.
Mm.
You know, when it's dry, you just, you know, it's like, so it's just like you wipe the top. Because if you did put the water on the bottom, you know, you'd be picking up dirt.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
No, I understand what you're saying. When we were in a class, the teacher also gave another rationale for that as well, and I can't remember what it was, but it was another, because they said like you'd think that rationally, like you said, the bottom gets dirty, but there was another rationale for why the top is why it's more important. But I can't.
A lot of the time they quote Ali about, you know, the showing that, you know, the wisdom, you know, no, the rationality, that it's revelation over reason, basically. You know, because you would think that you would clean the dirty part, but it's not dirty, is it? It's just dust. But if you put water on it, you know, you'll be picking up. Anyway, it's just a little.
Yeah, no.
I thought, subhanAllah, even that, where the average person, including me, looked at it and thought, well, you know, why wouldn't you clean the bottom?
Right.
But even that makes sense. You know, everything in Islam has a you know, makes sense, subhanAllah.
So, John, before we round up, I'm going to say two things. So, first of all, if anybody in the comments has questions that they want to put to John, or want to make any statements or anything like that, make any statements. I don't know why I said it like that.
Make what statements?
I'll just anyone want to make any statements about John? If anyone has any questions, you can put them through, and then inshallah maybe we'll throw them up. But before we do go, John, what is next for Mr. Fontaine? What's going on, man? You're obviously in the UK for now. Any cool projects? Any videos coming out soon, bro? You have so much content. You have a library of content. If you're not doing anything with it,
like what?
Like you said, we take your content, bro. We make use of it.
I've not got any content.
Bro, I always, every time I'm with you, I see you're filming. Guaranteed, right now, you have all of your equipment with you. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah. That I came to London this weekend actually to do some podcasts, so I'm trying to get a few months in advance.
Nice. So who are you getting on? Do you know?
We've got who've we got on? Hopefully Abu Bakr Islam.
Oh, nice.
Go
with South for that. He's very South.
Yeah. There's about nine different in a couple of days. Yeah.
So you're just gonna have them 9 recorded, and then you're gonna go
one a week.
1 week.
Because I'm gonna be traveling soon. Because I live in Uganda.
Okay.
I'm in the process of leaving Uganda and moving to West Africa, like Ghana, Sierra Leone, where I'm going to be doing more work over that side, West Africa. So, you know, when I'm in Africa, I can just release them, you know, week by week. But yeah, the plan now for me is my main focus is like Dawah in Africa. So Ghana, Sierra Leone. I'm working like an education project. So inshallah, I want to build like an education complex or village type thing, high-end education, you know, like to inshallah revive Islam, inshallah.
Wow, man, I'll put
and we have like about 96 schools as well under our charity in Sierra Leone, about 26,000 students, and we're trying to refurbish every single school because it's like it costs about £5,000 each school, you know, to refurbish. It's only like basic refurbishment. But these are like more in the villages. But I realized that that's good. It's good education, but it's going to be very slow to kind of revive Islam, if you know what I mean. But hopefully with like an education complex in the center of Freetown in the capital, then it'll be. I've got a bit of a plan, inshallah. Trying to do like the secular education with Islamic education, but also do like I'll call it the Ahlul Sufa program. So we bring poor people from the villages into the city to study in like a madrasa, you know, a classical traditional madrasa system. So on the same complex, you got both the academic side, like the, you know, secular side. So you know you're gonna have like basically the future influential people, you know, and also we have the scholars, the imams who can go back to their villages, you know, to teach. Inshallah, the correct Islam, because there's a lot of like cultural things in different parts of Africa to do with like magic and things like that. So you're trying to teach them the correct Islam.
Sounds like you have a really powerful conversation with Abu Bakr Islam, because he really likes to put a kind of focus on teaching the deen, but as we're also teaching like secular skills, so that the students can go up and like, you know, get jobs and make a change in their families.
Yeah. I'm also working on an orphanage program. So my plan, I don't like orphanages. Right? The reason is because, what are you looking at me like for? The reason
Just
is,
wanna know what's coming next.
yeah, the reason is because a lot of children, you know what it's like. The reason you're such a good dad, I've seen you online, mashallah.
You don't know that.
Yeah, letting a baby cry for like 2 hours. Yeah,
Oh,
I've seen that,
that?
bro. I was like,
I got some stick for that
I,
video, man.
I wanted to do that, but it's not easy, man.
Yeah, but do you know? Yeah,
Is-
so much
But anyway, the point is because the thing is you've been raised in a family, right,
Mhm.
with brothers and sisters, with a mom and a dad, etc. Right. So I feel like orphanages are like they don't get them basic skills of how a family runs because you're raised in a school. Basically, it's like living in school. So you don't have like a father figure, you have a teacher figure, but it's not the same as a mother figure or a father figure. So to sponsor an orphan for maybe like £30-40 a month, just for argument's sake, right? I would rather give that money to a family to adopt an orphan. So, for instance, in Sierra Leone, you've got like...
Wow, that's powerful,
you
man.
know,
That's
yeah.
very powerful.
So in Sierra Leone, you've got like maybe the wage there is like £40 a month for a policeman, bro. That's like a good job. That's how poor they are, right? So if you give that to a family, like even £20 a month, they will jump at the opportunity to raise an orphan. Now, my argument is that in Africa, generally families do adopt the orphans because they're kind of like a source of income. Because after school, they work in the market, right? And also there's a tribal system. So tribes don't let their orphans just, So my idea is that they do adopt them anyway. Like in Africa, if there wasn't any orphanages, there are some places where there'll be problems with children being homeless and stuff. But most of the time, they find a household anyway. That's what I found from my experience in Africa. Not all the time. There is a need for like orphanages, but I want the orphanages to be like a halfway house where we're trying to house them, So at the same time, you're helping a poor family, a Muslim family, get half an income or even a full income. Maybe even £30 a month. You can pay someone. That's like nearly a wage, bro, right? For the household. So you're helping the household, and the children are growing up in a normal family. At the same time, a part of that sponsorship can go towards funding the school. So maybe £10 funds the teachers for the school. So if the children in that household work after school, then the orphan can do that. Do you understand what I mean? It's kind of like you go with the cultural norms. So that's kind of my take on it.
That's so powerful,
Yeah,
man. Just
but-
for the child to grow up in a family and
Yeah,
have an
but at
advantage.
the same time, I only recommend this for the boys. I think with the girls, I think it's better having the orphanage personally because we're just a bit more protective of the girls. Do you know what I mean?
Understandable.
It's
of course.
different,
Yeah, of
you know.
course.
So I would prefer to see orphanages be more for girls, and if you've got good sisters who are running the orphanage, they can teach them how to be good mothers, and you can get them, working in a nursery and things like that to learn the skills of a mother, which they wouldn't have had. But with the boys, I think you can house the boys. You can house the boys, inshallah. This is a program that I'm trying to work on in Africa. Yeah.
No, I put Barak in it,
Yeah.
John. Honestly, that sounds amazing, and it sounds like you really done some thinking about the psychology behind how a child is raised and stuff. And I think that's
the
awesome, man.
The thing is, I mean, because you see certain situations like in Rwanda with the genocide. I don't know if have you had Othman Latif on your podcast?
I haven't had him on here, but I've interviewed him on Iman channel.
Bro, you got to get him on. Bro.
Yeah, but
He's
I
in
didn't-
Slough.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but now you just
Osman.
that's probably going live now. Everyone knows.
No,
what it is.
Slough on the other side.
Yeah.
So far away. No,
But I have had a chance to interview him on Iman channel about something, and he's very intellectual.
But he's done some research on the Rwanda genocide, and literally, like the Christians, the two tribes were killing each other, like the Christian tribes. But after that, the Muslims came, and basically because they'd lost their humanity, bro, because they'd been slaughtering each other, right? And the Muslims came and trained them how to be mothers again. And you see a similar thing through people who've had certain histories, certain communities, that they don't have the skills of parenting because of some way or another, whatever background they're from. And I think it's so important to basically put them in the household. I think the sisters will be okay in the orphanage, but the brothers, they need to know how a household works, because they're just going to be so irresponsible, bro. Because it's just like So it's just an idea. I've got a few different ideas of projects. Again, with traveling and seeing different examples all over the world, you kind of pick different ideas and you see what's right for that particular country. Like, this wouldn't work in other countries.
Yeah, there's no one way. There's no one way.
No.
No, I think that's amazing, man. Especially doing it in a way where you can kind of look at what's happening at that specific country, what's happening in that specific space.
And also, just another one, just before you cut me off, I know productive Muslims got to go at 5:30. I've got time. I've got to tell you.
You're going to take me to 5:29 and 59 seconds.
Faisal's like productive Muslim mode, right? He's like, I've got to leave 5:30 on the dot, and and subhanAllah. Anyway, what I was going to say, even to do with charity work, because I've seen a lot of different projects, and a lot of charities, in my opinion, are quite hands off. They raise money in the UK, but they delegate that work a lot, so they don't really know what's going on the ground. So we'll leave it there, inshallah.
No, bro, I've got time, bro.
No, because I know you're...
Wait, what, is my body language being disrespectful, bro?
No.
This is... I love Freshly Guarded, bro.
No, I was just saying, like...
You are through that. But I was going to know, do you know what? The reason my body language went is because I was actually going to make a point, because when we went to Gambia, we were able to see some of that. Yeah. And you're right in that they kind of... Some charities almost like set it up, and then they, in a good way, let the locals run it, because then they have jobs and stuff, but there's no maintenance or regulation. Yeah. And there's no like checking back on it.
That's why I like Abu Bakr's project, Spot. He's on the ground. He's originally from there. He knows what's going on. He's got solid people on the ground. And the key to your charity is having people you can trust. And he's got that in Gambia. That's why he's been so successful in what he's doing, because he knows what's needed. Yeah. But some charities, they're literally, they don't have a clue what's going on. I'll give you an example. Like sometimes there's like a flood or a devastation or something, and an earthquake or whatever it may be. And so I've seen, like, I remember in, and I don't mean no disrespect here, because their heart is in the right place.
They probably don't mention.
I'm not going to mention names. No, definitely not. No, because I have. SubhanAllah, I totally don't mean any disrespect, because there's no ill intentions or anything. It's just ignorance on the ground, not quite understanding the situation. So I'll give you an example. There was a flood, a landslide in Uganda, and literally charities were flooding to the place. Oh, that's probably not the best way to describe it. But anyway, charities were going to the place, bro. But literally, like 25 kids died, right? Like, it was a mudslide. And it's bad. But literally, like, hundreds of thousands of pounds were pumped into this particular area, right? So charities would take food, aid, etc., clothes, everything you need, right? The problem is they were taking aid which was purchased outside of the villages and bringing it into the village. The problem with that is the whole market, the actual village market, they couldn't sell anything, because everyone had been given enough supplies for a month or 2 months. Do you understand what I mean? So you've killed a local market by saving a few bags of rice, by buying from like a wholesaler, But you've just killed a whole business, the whole market. And at the same time, there's other issues, like if you give someone like enough food for a month, they'll generally finish it like in 3 weeks, because you don't ration food the same as you ration money. You don't kind of think like that. So there's issues like that on the ground where I would prefer to literally just give people cash. You give people £50, £100, whatever it is, £100 a family, and then they can spend it in their local community, and that money just keeps circulating rather than being spent outside of the community, and you kind of ruin the system. So I think there needs to be a lot more thought and research gone into charity, definitely. So this is something I'm kind of working on. I did set up an organization called Beit al-Zakat, which was basically I wanted to educate the Muslims on how to spend your money properly, and also get like scholars to kind of educate the Muslims on like, like not just halal or haram, but ethical like charity, that type of thing.
How can people support, before we go, your projects, or in the words of John Fontaine, projects? Do you have a Patreon you just recently started? Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, so I've started a Patreon. That just kind
What's
of
the link?
John Fontaine.
Push it out.
John Fontaine, I think.
Patreon.com/John Fontaine.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's check it out.
Yeah, but that Patreon is like, that's more for the podcast and general like kind of expenses, because obviously when I travel, I've got costs of like flights and petrol, things like that. So that's kind of like, that type of thing. But if you want to support like specifically Africa projects, like a specific project, whether it's a school or education project, then contact me direct, or you can donate. We've got a link on my YouTube and my Facebook. It's like a launch good, so you can support on that as well for the education projects in Africa. Okay. And yeah, but the Patreon, if like if people can support like £5, £10 a month, but consistently, that's so much more helpful, because it just allows things to go on, especially if we can build that up, so that we have like a monthly income.
I'm on your I'm on your Patreon.
Yeah.
And it looks like you haven't created.
This is why I came to the Productive Muslim.
Yeah. Do you know what, bro? Let's help you set this up today.
Inshallah.
Because if people want at the current moment, if people want to support you on Patreon, they literally can't, because you haven't created the tiers. You have to create like £5 a month, £10 a month, £15 a month, and they can like select it. But we'll get that set up for you.
But people have still managed to. Some people they've still done.
Maybe I'm on the wrong one. Because I'm on patreon.com/John Fontaine. Do you think that you could have set up too?
Does it? No.
Because this one you joined May 2018.
Oh no, that's the old one.
But it's a picture of you.
Yeah.
Lovely picture of you.
I tried to set one up before.
Fine.
But then there was an issue with Patreon before. Do you remember? You couldn't do it when you was from UK or something like that. Only recently they kind of.
Fine. So let's see if.
No, that's the wrong one then. That's the wrong one.
John Fontaine Patreon. No.
Mr. John Fontaine. Maybe. No?
Let's have a look. Yes. And there we have it. Allahumma barik. Look at that. So Mr. John Fontaine. There we are.
Yeah. Yeah? Well, I've still not set that thing up you're talking about, though.
Really?
Like the tiers. Maybe need to do that. But yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah, we'll look at it.
Yeah.
No, maybe you don't need tiers. Oh, no, you can choose what you pay. Okay, that's cool.
But I should probably set up the tiers as well, right?
Yeah. No, it's fine.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro. I'm showing you. All right, guys. John, thank you so much. Barakallahu feekum. Honestly, thank you so much for coming down and joining me on the podcast. I really appreciate you driving down. You came all the way from up north.
Yeah.
And I know you have a few projects here in London, so ahlan wa sahlan, marhaba. You're welcome here into our city of London. And we'll see you again soon, inshallah. But listen, first of all, would love for you to come back on Freshly Grounded sometime. Inshallah. But more than that, next time you get a big guest, hold a big phase again. And we'll...
inshallah, Sonny Bill, he's living in Manchester now.
I know, but I've tried getting in touch and it's not really making...
Inshallah, let's see if we can get him on Freshly Grounded.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Yeah. Inshallah.
Min fadlik. All right. Jazakallah khair, guys. Thank you so much for watching live on the live stream. And we will see you again on another episode, inshallah, next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.